Thank you all so much for coming. Sit, please get comfortable. This is incredible. I love you too. I sincerely love you. You guys, this is such a big night. This is a huge one for us as a team. I hope for you, this is the last night of the tour, and there is no place I would rather be. I love you so much. You guys know we announced this tour before Charlie, and he was supposed to be with us in Bakersfield, California. And then he was murdered, and immediately we turned to the question of whether we should still go, right? I mean, absolutely wound up being the answer. But I'm not gonna lie, we had some long talks about it at home. You know, my husband, my children, and me. Is it safe? Can we keep it safe for you guys, for us, for my team? And the more we thought about it, and you know, my husband was not in favor. And as my therapist said, your husband's behaving as your husband should. You know, Doug was saying the right things, and then I had to say the right things for me. And he's been totally supportive as soon as I made my decision. But it became very clear to me, as Charlie's friend, as somebody who's in the same industry as Charlie, and as somebody who has been fighting for the same principles as Charlie for a very long time, there was no not doing this tour. Let me tell you something. It took guts for every single one of you and everyone who has shown up to all of the tour stops to do it. It's not just a matter of me putting myself on this stage. It's a matter of you guys getting out there. You understand the environment we're in. Hell, just to declare yourself a conservative in this environment is actually an act of courage. You know, Charlie liked to say, be a rebel, be a conservative. That's what's rebellious. That's what's cool, subversive, right? The liberals control everything. They control big media, they control the movies, they control the sports, they control corporate America. They used to control politics up until about 13 months ago or so, right? And the best way to honor Charlie's legacy, truly, these are not just words. You see a lot of people posting things online like, for Charlie, for Charlie. This one really is for Charlie. We are here to make sure his assassin, the people who laughed about it, the people who celebrated it, get the message that they can fuck right off. Fuck off! You can't stop us! There are millions of us, millions. I love you too. And I know, God forbid anything were ever happen to me, and I certainly pray Jesus it doesn't, you guys would be out there doing this for me. I know you would. I apologize to the people of Arizona and the Turning Point students who have been grieving and have had to deal with the vitriol from these haters who say the terrible things. But I am so encouraged that they are a minuscule number when you look at the groundswell of support and revival and faith and unifying nature that's overtaken us all in the wake of Charlie's death. I feel much more united with the people who are here and the people who are fighting the same demons we are than I do divided from people who are having a minor spat right now over, yes, it's Israel, but we're gonna get past it. We are. It's dividing with the Republican right. We'll get through it. We always fight. We love fighting on the Republican side. We love fighting in general. Usually we direct all our ire at the left, and that feels good. When we're in power, we don't want to start picking on each other. Then we don't feel as good. But we're going to get through that because we have the same basic fundamental values, and those values include knowing who your enemy is, and it is literally the people who are firing bullets at us. So, it's a great way to end the tour with the beautiful people for whom I started it, in a way. And I know that this whole thing has hit you guys in a particular way, and that long after the nation moves on, the people who are driving by the Turning Point HQ every day are not. You're still seeing the flowers line up, and you're seeing the stuffed animals line up, and maybe some of you are lucky enough to see Erika Kirk pushing her baby in a stroller or at the area park or grocery store, and she needs all your support. They all do. Turning Point needs your support. She needs your support. And all those of us in the public eye who are continuing on the fight, and Charlie's message needed too. So I seriously love you. I'm so grateful to you all. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a little Q&A, then we're gonna bring out Walter Kirn, who, do you love Walter? Haven't you totally fallen in love with Walter? Love him. And then we will have our guest of honor tonight, Mrs. Erika Kirk. All right. I love your shirt, madam. Yeah, come on in.
Megyn, thank you for letting us come here from Minnesota. Me and my best friend, Chad Peterson, both Army folks.
God bless.
And we've
Minnesota.
got a long ways. I'm up there where the rocks and cows are, according to our piece of shit governor. And I'm a retired sergeant major for the United States Army.
Thank you for your service. Go Army.
Very blessed to be here. Thank you for that. Thank you for all blessed Americans. Well worth my service. Now we found out that billions of dollars have gone to terrorists.
Yeah.
Will the federal government step in and go after this guy? You being a former prosecutor, I don't know if you're a government or you were private, but
I wasn't a prosecutor, but I aspired to be one. I was in private practice.
Could the government come in and say, hey, buddy, where's this money at? How do we get it back?
Potentially. Yeah, potentially. There could be government action here. I mean, already the government has stepped in to eject all of these Somalis who were conducting this scam to take public funds and pad their pockets with it and send it off to terrorists. So they're going home, which should have happened long ago. And you saw the mayor there is apologizing to the Somali community. What do you mean? They just defrauded us? Like, they've lost their ever-loving minds in Minnesota. You gotta get out. Get out of there. Honestly, Tim Walz is too crazy. Minnesota's lost his ever-loving mind. Anyway, I hope something can be done more than that. But I mean, I would settle for shipping them out. Goodbye. Enjoy Somalia. Take Ilhan Omar with you. How you doing, my friend?
How are you, my friends? First and foremost, I love you, Megyn Kelly. I'm a gay conservative.
All right.
A gay
Log
conservative. Where do you direct me to lead my voice to bring change? What advice do you give a gay conservative to move forward?
First of all, the divorce from the TQs needs to happen immediately. Yeah, already done it. Okay, good. So we got to speak up about that. I mean, a strongly worded 10,000 letters to GLAAD and all the other organizations that have totally abandoned LGB for the much weirder TQ would be in order. But I think your call to duty is the same as mine as a straight American, which is get out there and fight. Gay, straight, we don't care. Like, no, on the right side of the aisle, we don't care about your sexuality, right? It's the left that makes it all about that. We don't care who you sleep with. Just get out there, and especially in Arizona, you guys are so important. You live in a swing state. You actually can shift the election. And if we're going to have JD be 48, as we all want, we're going to need every single one of you. Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Megyn.
Hi.
I am your #1 fan. I'm another gay conservative. I'm here with my beautiful wife.
Nice.
The question I have for you, I've been dying to wonder what your answer was on what you thought of Trump's meeting with Mondami.
Oh, I didn't like it. Did you guys like it? No, I didn't like it. I felt the same way as I felt when those morons over at Morning Joe went to Mar-a-Lago and kissed the ring. Like, that was kind of satisfactory because they were like, they had to bend down and genuflect, and they did it. But Zohran Mamdani is a radical. I mean, he's a communist. He was embracing the radical imam who testified for the blind sheikh who tried to bring down the World Trade Center like he was, this non-controversial nun. And we elected him somehow as our mayor of New York, and he was saying the nastiest things about Trump. I mean, and then he shows up there like, right? Like, what's happening? I get Trump because he does that to everybody. Like, he's gracious, notwithstanding what you read about him in the paper. So I get why he did it, but I'm comforted by the fact that they will be fighting again in about 2 minutes. Yeah, and all will be right with the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Megyn.
Hi.
I'm here all the way from Canada, and
Wow.
I wanted to be here for such a historical moment after what happened to Charlie Kirk. And the question I wanted to ask is, what can I do to make Canada better?
Oh, sweetheart. That's gonna be a tough one. Oh my goodness. Well, I got nothing. Do we have Turning Point chapters in Canada? We can get one. I have some connections with Turning Point. I might be able to help you get this going. Bit by bit, that's all I can say, brick by brick. Get another and another and another. I mean, listen, it's no worse than the Upper West Side of Manhattan was for me. right? And we are just as far left on the Upper West Side of Manhattan as Canada. And what did we do? Parents who were more conservative leaning started to meet like kind of underground to talk about our conservative ideals and how everybody was crazy. And we kind of started to organize and started to make a difference in these woke schools. And you guys can start that too. There really is power in numbers. So don't be afraid to speak out, and especially if you can get some other young people on your side, they're gonna have to listen to you. They're gonna have to. Good luck. Good luck. God bless.
Hi, Megyn.
Hi.
Love you.
Love you.
Wanted to know what you thought of Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning from Congress.
Oh, that's another one I'm so conflicted over. I wish she'd stayed. I wish she'd stayed the way she was before and also in Congress. You know, I'm not sure I think she might be going through something. I don't know, somebody was posting today that she's playing the long game. She's separating from Trump where she can maintain her integrity and like not have bent the knee to him and then resurface as like a MAGA leader when Trump exits stage left. That's not generally how it goes when you cross Trump. I think they could have made up. He's already saying nice things about her on X. You know, like trust me when I tell you, if you just wait him out, you can come to a good place with him. I wish he had done it. Hi.
Hi, Megyn. My name is Ocean Rosso, and I'm a Turning Point USA chapter president.
Nice, Ocean. Thank you.
My question is, I see a lot of apathy in my generation toward freedom, and in America in general. How do you think we can combat the rise of democratic socialism threatening to end our way of life in America?
Very good question, Ocean. Thank you for what you do. I mean, I think the best thing that could possibly happen to bring that message home just happened in New York City. You know, they're going to see, and they will see, because Zohran Mamdani will be the Republican poster boy, what those policies do to a city or a state or a town or a country, potentially. If we get AOC as our next potential president, don't laugh. That's who the Democrats are actually putting their hopes on. She's slightly scary. She's a slightly scary person because she's very good at social media and she has a way of communicating that's very effective, but she's a lunatic. So it's quite scary. But I do think that's, in some ways, I didn't want him, and I much would have preferred anyone other than him. I mean, when I uttered the words, I guess you're going to have to vote for Andrew Cuomo, I threw up a little in my mouth. But he's not a communist. I mean, like, that's his tagline. I'm not a commie, not a pinko commie. Okay. So let's just see what happens in New York City, because I know the people who are on the comms shop in Washington for the Republicans, and they are salivating over this guy's policymaking. So fingers crossed that'll do it. Thank you.
Hi, Megyn.
Hi.
I'm leaving for the Army in March.
Oh, God bless. Good for you. Thanks for doing that.
And I just wanted to know your opinion on transgenders in the military, and also your opinion on the Democrats stating that we no longer need to listen to the president on illegal things.
Yeah.
And just your opinion on that.
I'm against transgenders in the military. There's no such thing as a transgender, by the way. It's not a thing. It's men pretending to be women or women pretending to be men, but there's not a trans anything. It's not a thing. I'm against it because, look, the truth is that the vast majority of trans, like male to female, are autogynephiles who are working out a sexual fetish. Why should you have to sit next to that? What, just because you joined the Army? I don't want to sit next to anybody working out a sexual fetish. You know, like, that's sick. I don't want to be a part of it. Take it in your bedroom, take it wherever you want, but don't take it in a public space or at the Army. And it's just too difficult to ferret out which ones have genuine gender dysphoria and which ones are working out their sex kink on you. So it's a no. There are many other things they can do, right? That's my answer. As for my answer on the disobey the orders, it's disgraceful. It actually is going to get people killed. You cannot tell American soldiers that they don't have to obey the commander-in-chief and leave it up to them to figure out which orders are the good ones and which orders are the bad. Those senators and lawmakers are actually literally endangering our troops, and shame on them. Hi there.
Hi, Megyn.
Hi.
My question to you is there a difference between America first and being an isolationist?
Interesting. I guess so. I think so. I mean, I think Trump would say he's America first, but he's not an isolationist. You know, Trump, he's pretty quick to drop the bomb if he thinks he needs to. You know, like, look at 1.0, right? Like Soleimani. And then 2.0, the whole Iran nuclear program thing. That's not really isolationist exactly, but it is America first, right? He did not believe that Iran should have the bomb. He believed it wasn't good for America, it wasn't good for Israel, which is an ally. So he did it. So I think that's why Trump did it. But if you look at the more truly isolationist wing of the party, you know, maybe JD's a little bit more isolationist. Tucker certainly is more isolationist. Young people are much more isolationist. They've had it with the forever wars. So I do think there's a little difference there. Anyway, thank you for that. That was an interesting question. Hi.
Hi, Megan with a Y. I'm Sarah with an H from
Love it.
Cincinnati. How you doing? So I work in the financial services industry, and I would love to get more involved politically. However, the current regulations prevent me from being able to contribute any sort of monetary contribution to any political affiliation. What advice would you give to someone who's kind of shackled by government regulations and not being able to get involved?
Well, the money is the least of what you can do, right? I mean, you're limited in how much you can give anyway. But I think far more effective, especially, are you from Arizona? Where are you from?
Cincinnati.
Oh. Well, Ohio is still kind of swingy, not exactly, but you also appear willing to travel to Arizona for important events. So I would urge you to potentially get down here with a bus and get people to the polls on election day. Like, that's way more impactful than actually donating your $3,500. Consider doing that, because actually canvassing or getting out there, distributing literature or just speaking out, if you are able to post online, if you're able to go door to door, if you're able to just get your voice out there and start convincing people, not shouting at them, that's fun too. But I mean, the main thing is to convince them, show them actual stories on like the trans issue or what have you, or the affirmative action, or, healthcare. That would be very helpful. That's the way you can do it. Okay, quickly. Okay, no, I guess so, sorry.
Outside business activities are also something that has to be approved by our employers in order for us to be able to participate. Maybe this is a question for Lane.
I don't think this is an outside business activity. What do you mean? This is not business. They can't stop you from politicking.
I hope not.
No, that's an infringement on your rights. I think I would challenge that policy. One thing at the office, quite another when you're on your own time. That does not sound like an appropriate or a sustainable policy.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Kirsten, all the way from Michigan.
Nice.
My question is, Muslim populations in places like Dearborn, Michigan, pursuing a deliberate strategy of outbreeding native Westerners, aiming to demographically overwhelm and eventually supplant our Judeo-Christian civilization through birth rates and sustained immigration. Essentially, my question is, what can we do in terms of immigration and prioritize those who will embrace our traditions and better America?
That's a very good question. Very good question. Very timely. Thank you. And I'm sorry for what's happening to Michigan. I can't believe my eyes. Minnesota too, Minneapolis, but Dearborn, Michigan is like lost. First of all, the non-Muslims need to have a lot more babies. That's just true. We do. I mean, when the guard is down and the more radicalized Muslims tell you what their plan is, it involves having 6 to 10 children so that a generation from now, they're in the majority. And they start it by city to city and take over states, and then before you know it, they're a majority in the country. And we don't want that. And there's no reason we need to want that. We don't have to be shy about saying we don't want that. That Islam is not consistent with fundamental Western values, period. Learn it, love it, say it, embrace it. It's not that we don't love our Muslim neighbors. I've got Muslim friends, no judgment on them and the way they choose to practice their religion, but their religion happens to be a political doctrine as well. It's very entangled. And they just don't stand for the same things that we do in the West, like free speech, like separation of church and state, like women's rights. So we have to say no. We have to stop electing these people to positions of power. And we have to stop the immigration pipeline from countries that don't share our values. And we have to do what Trump did, which is eject the ones who are here taking advantage of the rest of us, especially when they're funneling money back to other Muslim terrorists. So that's my 2 cents.
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
I just drove in from Texas. I had to be amongst my people because
Yes, it feels so good, doesn't it?
one of the main reasons I needed to come to see you is because I've been diagnosed with a really terrible disease called toxic
masculinity?
Yes, thank
oh,
you.
I'm so sorry. So sorry.
My question is on legacy media. You've said over the past months that it's dying. do you see it coming back because of the, you know, how our podcast network is, but, you know, and you thank God they're there, but do you see them coming back?
I don't. No, I think the MSM is over, dead, and dying. I do have something that will cure you of your toxic masculinity. She goes by the name of Katie Porter. I think if you watch a bunch of videos, she's going to change you. You're going to have some sort of a sea change. But no, I don't think the MSM is coming back. Do you? It's funny, actually. I'm enjoying watching them try now that they realized we have all the market power and that we actually spend money and have money. And now they're trying to get us by being like more moderate. You know, CBS is trying because Barry's there and she's trying to make it more moderate. Okay, CNN's trying a little. And they're like, okay, good. It's too late. They already showed us that they hate our guts. Why would we take in any news from them, right? Who the hell wants to watch, sorry, but Jake Tapper or any of these people who have betrayed us and has fed us a bunch of bullshit, and we know they loathe us and our children? It's a no. So no, I have no hopes for them whatsoever. All right, we'll take one more. Sorry to you guys waiting in line, but we want to get our show on time.
Hi, my name is Tiffany.
Hi.
My question is, there's so much chatter around Epstein now and whether Trump was involved or he wasn't, and it's on the heels of the P. Diddy trial. And I don't think most people really care about whether Trump was involved. We care about the butterfly effect. Who are all the other names who we don't know about? Do you think they'll ever come out?
It's a very good question. I don't know. Yeah, I do think that power tends to protect power. I think we've heard some names. You know, like, wouldn't you like to know more about Les Wexner? The Victoria's Secret guy? The Bed Bath & Beyond, right? Wasn't it Bed Bath & Beyond? One of those companies, but definitely Victoria's Secret. Why? Bath & Body, thank you, is different. I'd like to know more about him. I was surprised at the Larry Summers reveals, right? This guy's teaching at Harvard. He was like buddy-buddy with Epstein all the way up to the day Epstein was arrested. I mean, like, it's bad enough when you're fraternizing with him after he pleaded guilty to molesting a minor. This was something different. By the time we get to 2019, the Miami Herald report had broken. They knew about the 36 girls who had come forward against him. These people are sick, still associating with him. So I don't know. Like, some have been hiding in plain sight, and then I just want to put this out there because I don't want to get to like Me Too Salem witch trial-y over Epstein. It is also possible that the guy didn't have a ring of like sex trafficking friends, that it was just him. And maybe a couple of very bad judgment perverts nearby, but not like a huge ring. You know what I mean? And so we have to be open to that possibility, because I just want to be like, you don't want to see anybody who is like friends with Epstein but didn't molest somebody find themselves with the scarlet letter. Like, we have to remember how we went overboard during Me Too as we learn these names that we think are about to get released, just for the sake of the men who are innocent but may have known the guy. Just like having gone too far in Me Too, I feel like there's just a note of caution there. But for the actual scumbags who touched a girl, any girl, yeah, let's throw the book at them, let's shame them. I have no problem seeing them lose their jobs at Harvard. I have zero sympathy for them, and I look forward to seeing it, actually. Thank you. Thank you all. Okay, we're gonna get our show on the road because Erika is still hoping to get home in time to put the kids to bed. I know. So I'll have to talk to her later about what time a 17-month-old needs to go to sleep, because this is, you know how it is when you're young. It's 7 o'clock, off you go. But my first guest, you're gonna love. So I didn't know Walter Kirn that well, but then he started going on with Matt Taibbi once a week. And they had such a no-nonsense, no BS kind of podcast where they talked about everything. And they're both kind of disaffected Democrats. Do you know that? Like, Matt always, he never says who he voted for, but it's clear he was of the left, and he was a Democrat. And Walter was too. He's of Hollywood. Do you see the movie Up in the Air with George Clooney? Guess what that was based on? A Walter Kirn book. He's this very successful Hollywood, author and Hollywood writer, and like his career was on fire. And he was pretty committed liberal, not leftist, but liberal. And then his turn came right around 2016. And that is fascinating because it's very few leftists who became righties in 2016. A lot of righties went the other way. right? So what did it? Well, he's going to explain it to you in a couple of minutes. But he has gone on to write this newspaper called County Highway. Comes out 6 times a year. It's amazing. You should definitely subscribe. He's doing the podcast with Matt Taibbi, and he's become a superstar now. He's all over the place. He started coming on our show. Now I can barely book him anymore. He's on Real Time with Bill Maher. They're trying to get him all over. No, it's a no. He's ours. Little intro to Walter Kirn, and then we'll bring him out. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe to this show on YouTube and follow me on Insta, Facebook, and X. I'm excited to share a new partner of the show with you, Hallow, the #1 Christian prayer and meditation app. If you have not heard of it, Hallow has more than 10,000 audio-guided prayers to help you find peace and grow closer to God. Prayer is more important than ever. God, I know I'm feeling that. Are you feeling that? In the past month, we have seen a surge in people turning to faith, more prayer, more church attendance, and a real spiritual revival happening across America. And starting today, Hallow is launching a powerful new prayer series featuring Jim Caviezel. Yes, the actor who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ. It's a fictional exchange between two demons trying to pull Christians away from God. Not through obvious evil, but through everyday distractions like pride, busyness, and the I'll pray later mindset. Hallow is not just an app. It's a space to slow down, reconnect, and fight back against the noise with prayer. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to start. Start somewhere. Go to hallow.com/Megyn, MEGYN, to get 3 months free. That's Hallow, HALLO.com/Megyn.
The Trump-Russia scandal, which was really Hillary throwing a SHIT fit over having lost, is, less real than one of my novels.
James Comey is trying not to become a bully.
I struggle with how to stand up to bullies without letting their meanness infect me.
It's so creepy. It's like some strange person or a vice principal trying to relate to you, They've got you in a room. You're 13 years old.
Oh, hello.
Why you gotta be so mean?
Get out of my fucking shot.
The lady in the back was used to this abuse. You could tell.
Totally.
Like, she didn't jump or anything. It's just another day at Katie's.
Yes, we should have.
We didn't get the grace that I think some other families have gotten.
Still complaining? She acts like she was persecuted after becoming First Lady of the United States. That is the greatest honor so far, short of female president, that can go to a woman and to her husband. Even electing you president won't get you off our case?
For me, the news of Sydney Sweeney is that heterosexuality is legal again. The idea that it was about her skin or her blue eyes, I'm sorry, as a red-blooded American male, it's not her blue eyes or her skin that I first see when I look at that picture.
Please help me welcome Walter Kirn.
I haven't been in Phoenix in 50 years since I was a 9th grader at Central High School. I'm glad to be back.
Wowee. Yeah. Because you're a Midwestern boy.
I was a Midwestern boy. My dad decided we were going to become a Southwestern family in 1976, and it didn't work out.
And that's how you wound up in Montana.
What's that?
That's how you wound up in Montana.
I wound up in Montana because I was a guy who lived in New York City, was educated in England and Princeton, New Jersey, lived all my life as a young guy after I left home among what you could call the East Coast establishment. And I wanted to drive a truck again. So I moved to Montana, and I realized that I'd, like Dorothy, come home, and I haven't left.
So you do go out into the wild every once in a while, like you're here, and something interesting came up on my X feed today, Walter. I don't know why it took as long as it did. I don't know if any of you saw this, but apparently it's from a good year ago or so.
Yeah.
And Walter was with Matt Taibbi, and they were in an airport. And I'm just going to play the soundbite and let you get a little taste of our friend here.
Do you regret, now that it's going MAGA on Twitter, that you did the shoddy coverage of the Twitter files there?
Shoddy coverage?
Well, I mean, it was shoddy in that obviously there was MAGA stuff going on.
Get out of my fucking face.
I'm not in your face.
Get out of my face.
So good.
That's because I'm a Vikings fan.
That was amazing. Everyone else always does the like, oh, I'm not going to engage. What made you just get over there and get on his grill?
Well, my real name is Walter the Fish Kirn, and Joe Pesci's my hero. And that Joe Pesci can stand up next to Robert De Niro and be even tougher than him is inspiration to little guys like me. So when this guy started in about 5 minutes before he turned on the camera, because that's the guerrilla viral video technique. Get them all wound up and then catch them at their worst moment. But it might have been my best moment.
Yeah. No, I think if you had it to do over, you'd do the same thing. What was Matt's reaction?
Matt's a Pisces. Does anybody understand astrology? I'm a Leo. Matt is 6'5", and he doesn't have to worry about little people wearing cheese hat head. I, however, am slightly threatened by them, so unless I win right away...
It's like the Lhasa Apso versus the Great Dane.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I set it up in the intro about how you used to be a normie Dem, a normie liberal, and then...
More than that, I was the national editor for the New Republic magazine. You know, I don't think they've gone one cover for 15 years without making fun of Trump or so on.
Right.
I was at Spy magazine in the 80s, a magazine in New York City, which was almost devoted entirely to making fun of Donald Trump, back when he was a Playboy real estate developer. So I was a gold-plated liberal. The problem was I couldn't keep lying about certain things.
It's tough. That will make it tough. So, but when did the veneer come down? Like, what was it? How in 2016 did you go from the left to the right? It was just you.
Well, Obamacare costing me a couple $1,000s a month didn't help.
People are about to feel that acutely.
You know, pocketbook issues for a middle-class freelance writer who's trying to raise a family are very important. But I think what really happened was this Russiagate business. When I and all these other journalists were expected to sign off on the notion that Donald Trump was an agent of the Russian president. And the only thing that was preventing me from spreading that news was evidence. I kept asking for it. I begged my colleagues. I said, you're all leaving on the good ship, you know, Trump Derangement Syndrome. I want to go along. Just give me a reason. And they said, well, we all know he is. I said, but how do we all know? Who told you? Well, and it broke down. And suddenly I realized that I'd spent my life not getting rich, but building up my integrity, and I was not willing to sacrifice it over what I knew to be a lie.
Think of that. That's a story of one person only. I mean, literally nobody in the industry had the integrity to do that, Walter. It's like plenty of us on the right stayed on the right, notwithstanding some objections to Trump or whatever they were saying, but no one on the left saw the lies and said, I'm out. So how has that affected your life, especially as, you know, a big Hollywood person?
I got real friends. That's how it affected my life. You know, this isn't about me, but when you go to Princeton University, grow up in a small town in Minnesota, and you see the world spread out before you, you know, the fathers and mothers of your classmates run major corporations. Hell, some of them run foreign countries and are just here, you know, on a study abroad program. You think, I want to join the party, the world party. You know, I want to go to Davos someday. But the problem is that the compromises of the truth, of your own integrity, of your vision of how life works get in the way. And you can either sacrifice them and go along to the party, or you can keep them and stay with the people who also tell the truth. And now I have better friends. The people who were only around me for professional reasons or because we'd gone to college together or, you know, ate at the same fancy restaurants, they've all gone away. But I'm on the Megyn Kelly stage at age 63.
Yes, with all you beautiful people.
Yeah.
Well, and as you've watched your former party over the past 10 years, you must be really glad to have nothing to do with them. I'm just going to guess, because I got to know you a little bit since we've been doing shows together. I'm going to guess that this person whose soundbite I'm going to play here, she goes by the name of Jasmine Crockett, does not speak for you, but you tell me, let's see what we can glean
I love Jasmine.
from this.
Gonna do? They not even gonna, honestly, they're about to outlaw the idea of white supremacy and white hate. Like, they are about to be like, oh, that's not a thing. Forget the fact that you're talking about getting rid of like the classification for nooses in a time in which we have seen these random black bodies be strung up down south. Also, seemingly at a time in which you're back in office, because what you do is you embolden the hate. You embolden everybody to take off their hoods. That is what he has done. He is the one that is producing this violence.
Okay.
Is she talking to me? I mean, I feel accused every time she gets on the stage, and I didn't do anything.
Totally.
I grew up in Minnesota where the only minority was Lutherans. I came out of my youth without a trace of prejudice. She's trying to get me to have it for the first time.
Yes, she's doing her level best. And the nonsense about they're stringing up black bodies? Oh, wait a minute. Okay, hello, 1950 called, and it wants its history back. There was one young African-American person who died by suicide in a hanging incident. By suicide. She's trying to start a race war, suggesting it's whites who did it, and we're back to the Jim Crow era, and things are just that bad, and they're going to outlaw the idea of white supremacy? How the hell do you do that? You can't get ideas out of anybody's head. This is just made up stuff trying to aggravate people and create division.
You know, liberals used to love ideas, and they used to love diversity and true difference. But now they've become a monolithic, uniform, dictatorial party which wants to police language, police pictures, police every bit of our culture. They're dulling it down to the point where we can barely go to movies, we can barely watch TV shows, the music isn't good, the books aren't good, and it's all because of people like this who are trying to make us ashamed 24/7. We're Americans, we're here to have fun.
So right. Isn't that so true? It's like, Noah Rothman wrote a book a couple years ago calling them the new Puritans, the woke left. They really are puritanical. They're miserable and they want us to be too. And they'll find whatever label they can throw on us just to ruin our party, right? They look at us, it's like the Republicans are the cool kids having a great time at the prom. And these are like the nerdy losers who are hanging out in the smoking section, who are like putting little pins in the voodoo dolls of the fun ones.
She's a big bummer. You know, when I finally got out of Minnesota and met a few people of other races and other things, I thought they were loose. I thought they were fun. I thought that they knew things about, you know, self-expression and so on. I thought they were free. I don't want to be put back in a box by this kind of scolding. It's like a horrible kindergarten teacher. The problem about black bodies is there are a lot of white bodies. I was in Las Vegas yesterday walking down a not particularly good street, and it's strewn with white bodies. I can't even tell if they're dead. They're in such bad shape. This country is full of casualties of the kind of policies that this woman espouses. And I'm for picking up all bodies off the street, and I'm for them not getting there in the first place. And I think that the world that she's painting for us is going to lead to a lot more suffering, a lot more misery, a lot more despair. She's not going to get me to feel guilty about the fact that I want something more for myself, my brothers, and people of every race. When I was at Central High School in Phoenix, we had so many gangs. We had Hopi gangs. Oh, wow. We had Navajo gangs. We had a diversity and a portrait of America that was far beyond, you know, even what we can imagine in that inner city. We all got along. We didn't have politicians trying to drive us into conflict like this. It's horrible.
Mm-hmm. Well, Hopi gangs, that's amazing.
They were nice. Hopi gangs were like mellow. You know, I'll tell you about that story some other time.
The other thing that you and I have talked about recently that is back in the news is the possibility of other life forms here on Earth. Is it just my feed, or is this coming up in your social media and like your life more these days? Okay, no, it's just me. Okay. But I'm in news and I talk to Walter, so that's what's happening. Well, my old pal Brett Baer over on Fox News just did this interview, okay? Yes, we like Brett. And he interviewed like the god of UAPs. That's what they call him now.
What used to be called UFOs.
Yes.
They got an upgrade.
Former Air Force guy. Just listen to this soundbite. Watch.
I don't like to characterize necessarily where they came from. They're definitely some kind of non-human sentience, but it is true, believe it or not, we've recovered the vehicles. And we actually have physical proof, and I was actually partially cleared into some of those activities. It was beyond oral testimony provided to me. I actually had partial access to the data and actually read the intelligence reports resulting from those programs.
Like with your own eyes,
Correct.
You saw it.
Yes.
All right, now that's extraordinary because my understanding is this is not some kook, this is not some crackpot, this is former Air Force, and he's saying he actually saw the vehicles and some sort of non-sentient being.
No, sentient beings. Non-sentient beings are Jasmine Crockett. Sentient beings have awareness and thought.
But this is something you've been reporting on, you've been paying attention to.
So in the spirit of Charlie Kirk, I decided I would do nothing but tell the truth when I came out here tonight. I was invited to be on his show a couple of months before he died, and I declined. That should give everybody pause. Take every opportunity you have with good people, because they might not be around forever. Dave Grush is a friend of mine, and he's a source, and I've known him for 3 years. I was texting him in the green room. I said, what can I tell Megyn's audience? He said, the problem with the aliens is that we care a lot about them, but they don't care a lot about us. In other words, we're still exploring this universe. The gorilla was only discovered in the middle of the 19th century. It was a mythical being that they finally discovered in the jungle. They found bodies and so on. I'm convinced, and I hate to tell you this, that Dave is telling the truth, and that against great pressure and great mockery, he's trying to describe our actual world to us. It's a world in which we have not made all the discoveries yet. Now, he often compares them to mountain lions. He says, do you believe in mountain lions? Everybody would say yes, right? How many of you have actually seen one?
I have seen one.
You've seen one?
In Montana.
Okay, well.
Yep. Ugly.
I
unattractive.
am convinced that this isn't a psyop, that this isn't what conspiracy theorists call Project Blue Beam, an attempt to dazzle us all with a false god that will bring us all under, slavery of some sort of world government. I think that very rarely, but somewhat commonly over the years, going back through human history, we have been visited by beings of other types. It's a big universe, one we barely understand. We're very young. We're going to learn about, I can promise you this, we're going to learn more about this. And in the same interview, he tells you that Donald Trump knows a lot about it. That's my information too. If you know anything about Donald Trump, he will not avoid bragging about what he knows before he... So I expect him to be the president who tells us what we haven't heard.
So can you just outline it for us more clearly? What exactly is he telling you they've seen?
They've recovered craft that have crashed. Some of those craft have fought each other. In other words, people say, how could they crash? They come across the universe. Well, we're not so sure they'd come all that far, frankly. We're not so sure they don't have places nearby to come visit. They're a little bit like gardeners from the descriptions of the people I've had as sources. They check on the garden every once in a while, but they have their own business. They have their own family fights. They have their own voyages. Now, what he's talking about are actual bodies on the ground. I imagine there's going to be a day where you're going to sit down in front of your television and people who you trust, scientists, politicians, ones who don't necessarily agree with each other on everything, but do agree on something like the truth, will bring forward the evidence. You will be convinced. It will not rock your world if you're a religious person. You can handle it. If you've read the Bible, there are all sorts of creatures in there who aren't explained. If you believe that these are a demonic presence, I don't think they are any more than certain animals are. But, there was a time when we thought we were alone in the universe almost as a planet, that the sun revolved around us and so on. We survived the revelation that it was the other way around. We'll survive this. It'll be interesting. Kids will be more interested in science. I think our universe will light up for us again. They've kept it to themselves for, I think, obvious reasons. And I spoke to someone just recently. I said, how should they first disclose this? And he said, they should take the craft that they've reverse engineered that have capacities that you and I don't know about and fly them over Phoenix. And in fact, that happened because the Phoenix Lights is one of the great UFO scares of all time, if you know about it. So I predict that's going to happen, and I don't think it's going to be all that long. And I think after all the movies and all the pop culture, we're not going to be all that shocked by it. I think we'll integrate it, and it's not going to destroy our civilization to find out.
I have an idea for them to integrate into the United States in a way, and the world, the earth, that's going to make everybody really happy. It's going to make things non-controversial. People are going to be in favor of their addition to our way of life. They just have to start by grabbing one of us. I nominate Elizabeth Warren. Just you take her. She's gone. She probably was part of that Hopi tribe at your high school. Then we can all get behind that idea. Another unifier.
The problem with if Trump announces it, the liberals won't believe him. I mean, Trump could lay out absolute proof of this thing, and half of the people wouldn't believe it, just like, they went and grabbed Tylenol the minute it seemed like he was against it.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Listen, I actually kind of hope you're right. I hope they actually have found something.
I'm here to tell you, in the spirit of truth-telling, that I am right.
Oh. What do you think? Are we in favor of actually seeing these crafts and these bodies if they exist? Should our government show them to us? Yeah, I want to know.
They look like giant frogs. I'm not kidding you.
So it's not Elizabeth Warren.
Well, there are different kinds.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on that note, we have to say goodbye to Walter, so we'll just let you dream about that tonight. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you, Megyn. We'll see ya.
Thanks so much. Walter Kirn, everybody. So great. Next time somebody harasses me in the airport, I'm pulling one of those. I'm sure Doug will be thrilled. You know how it is, ladies. We start it, but the men have to finish it. So, I don't know what to say about Erika Kirk that you don't know. All I can tell you is that since Charlie died, I've wanted nothing more than to be with her and talk to her and hold her. There is something about Erika Kirk that is deeply spiritual, and she just seems closer to God than the rest of us. And I don't know if this is a trait she's had all her life, if this has been imbued in her since she became more religious, or since she lost Charlie, because that's when she and I became friends. I had met Erika prior to Charlie's death, but we didn't know each other. And since then, I have had this incredible urge. It's a strange urge, because I have this huge urge to take care of her, to make sure that nothing happens to her, not from the media scoundrels, not from the terrible leftists who are hating, and certainly not from anybody who actually wishes to do her or her children, God forbid, any harm. But I also have, at the same time, this wish to be near her so she can heal me. Do you know what I mean? And I don't know, you guys, like, I kind of feel like this whole tour, try not to get emotional already, was in part to heal me, and maybe some of you too. You know what I mean? We suffered a severe loss in September, a severe loss that affected us all, I think, very deeply and profoundly, but no one more than Erika and their two children. We have done our best to prepare a reel for Erika that will give you a flavor of her, which I know you've already gotten a taste, but we're going to give you a bit more. And then we'll bring her out, and you will have the honor of spending some meaningful time with Erika Kirk. Watch. Grand Canyon University, an affordable, private Christian university based in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, is one of the largest universities in the country. Praised for its culture of community and impact, GCU integrates the free market system, a welcoming Christian worldview, and free and open discourse into more than 360 academic programs, including more than 300 online. Join a nationwide community of learners, redefining what online education looks like through academically rigorous and industry-driven programs that can spark bold ideas and prepare you for a future that matters. In addition to federal grants and aid, GCU's online students received nearly $161 million in institutional scholarships in 2024. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu/myoffer to see the scholarships you may qualify for.
I can't wait to see you again one day.
Please welcome Erika Kirk.
You spoke the truth, you gathered the youth, you showed the proof, you raised the light, and you were right. Hey Charlie, and now it's all wrong. How could you be gone? How do we stay strong? It's been way too long.
We had to do the fire.
Charlie loved those fireworks
He loved
so
it.
much.
That really is for Charlie,
That
the fire.
is, anytime, that's the signature of a Turning Point USA event, more pyro. He would do the walkthrough, and they would do the pyro, and he'd be like, more.
It's very
louder,
funny. We
more.
were like, do we do the fire after this beautiful tribute? People are going to be feeling emotional. I'm like, fire it up.
Fire it up.
Charlie would want it.
Same with at the memorial, you know, everyone got the fire.
Yeah.
Everyone got the sparks.
The fire makes a nice difference. So
Gets everyone in the crowd ready.
Let me ask
for the
you a
event.
question that my friends who have lost somebody say is the right question. How are you doing today?
Well, we talked about earlier this week how it was an emotional week for me. The firsts are always so interesting because the firsts are either like your first date, you know, your first kiss, and then with loss, it's like the first birthday, the first holiday.
You know, it was Erika's birthday this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
It was yours too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
This is our birthday celebration together. You guys are all just happening to be here while we have coffee. But every day is different.
Let's sing happy birthday. We sang to you last night.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Poso was
Or
so
Sorry,
sweet.
2 nights ago. Why don't, may we? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Erika. Happy birthday to you. Many more. Many more.
I told myself I wasn't going to cry. Hard not to.
So this was the first one. And you're right, the first, and we're about to go into a season of firsts, which is always challenging.
And I know you can relate to this because you lost your father at a really young age. Every day is different. But I am so grateful that my husband, he's hand-selected the village that surrounds me now. You know, he built Turning Point USA, yes, and it's a machine, yes, but he handpicked all of the people that not only run the organization, but that were within our orbit, our closest orbit, the people that he loved and he trusted so much, and that he knew without a shadow of a doubt if something happened to him, that they would step up and they would be filled with the Holy Spirit and they would do what he knew they were born to do. And they wouldn't be afraid, they wouldn't cower, they would take on the mission that he had instilled in them. And so to be able to have that chosen family in that village that he helped literally handpick, I could not do a fraction of a fraction.
They've been amazing. Turning Point is in such good hands. Yes, obviously with you as the CEO, but the team that you have around you, all of whom I've met, are good and decent and loving people who adored Charlie.
They loved him.
Let's go back before we get into your relationship with him and your future to you. Because I think people are very curious about you. I think they want to know more about you. So I know that obviously you were Miss Arizona. Hello. Nicely done. Good, very, very top selection. And that you were a businesswoman in New York when you first got interested in Turning Point. So what were you doing in New York?
So to go back a little bit further, I mean, right now, first and foremost, I'm a daughter to the King, to the Most High. That's the most important title, if you will. And my husband, in August, before all this happened, he had a event where he had some donors at, and one of the first questions they asked was, God forbid if something happens to you, like what would happen next to Turning Point? And Charlie made a really interesting point. He said, companies, you know, example, Apple, Macintosh, he said, they're founder-led. He said, but what I have built will one day, if I'm not around, be vision-led. And he had made mention at the end, like, you know, Erika will do a great job running it. And when I watched that video this week, it really put into perspective my youth and what I went through growing up and what I witnessed, you know, my mom having her own company and being a single mother and watching her be the blueprint of, you know, I'm not afraid of raising my children alone because I saw my mom do that. I'm not afraid of being a CEO because I saw my mom do that. The only thing that I fear, to be fully transparent with you, is being out of the alignment of God's will, because I feel like that is a very dangerous position to be in. And so for me, growing up, when I was in New York, it was one of those moments where I really trusted God. That's where I needed to be. I prayed on it at first because originally I was living in LA, and I said, Lord, if this is where you need me to be, make it so clear. Bought a one-way ticket to New York, one suitcase. My mom was like, what are you going to do when you're there? I was like, I'll figure it out once I get there. I just know that's where the Lord needs me. And so many people question that. They said, you're such a strong Christian. Why would you go to such a dark city? And I said, the more that you take the light out of a dark place, the darker it gets. So that's where I'm going. And I was there, and
yeah. But when I moved to New York, my brother said, why would you want to move to New York? And I said, it's the big city of dreams. And he said, scary, nasty, wake up in the middle of the night screaming dreams. So I get it.
Right.
But so you were working in New York for a while, and then you went back to Arizona to apply for the Turning Point job?
No, so I was in New York. I was a casting director. I was signed with a modeling agency. I had just gotten my real estate license 3 months prior to meeting Charlie. And rewind a little bit, I went to Turning Point's office opening for their first building. And Tyler he runs Turning Point Action now. And he said, you need to meet the CEO. I said, okay, great. Met him very quickly, shook his hand, said, hi, nice to meet you. Neither of us thought anything of it. Looking back now, he apparently sat down with Tyler and said, we need to hire, or Tyler said, we need to hire her. And he goes, mm-hmm. And he's like, where's she live? And Tyler said, New York. He's like, okay. I'm going to have a Fox News hit, and then I'm going to sit down with her and interview her in New York. So lo and behold, he comes to Manhattan, and I thought I was so career-minded. My mother raised me to, and this is why I can relate a lot to the Manhattan mindset of a lot of young women, where it's career-oriented, because my mom used to tell me, don't feel like you need to rely on a man for life and work. And so my mindset, my healthy marriage example was my grandparents. But my mindset was career, career, career. When I met Charlie, the only reason I sat down with him, because I thought it was a consulting position for work. I did not date in Manhattan. I saw the pits of hell of the dating pool through my roommates, and I was not touching that with any longest pole you can imagine. I stayed far away from the dating pool in Manhattan. So I viewed it as obviously the job interview that it was supposed to be, and the Lord knew. Charlie, in some way, similar to how, he sees things in a lot of people, in some way, beautifully saved me from a huge mistake of putting career over family and career over husband, because it's easy to do when, as a female, when you see bright lights, big city, but the Lord used him. The Lord used him for me.
How long did it take you to fall in love with him?
That's the funny thing, is it's so interesting, because when we were sitting there, I fell in love with how brilliant he was to be able to articulate what he believed in. And when he said, I'm not going to hire you, I'm going to date you, I knew that was the Lord, because there were so many times where I said, my future husband that's out there, it will be, the only reason why I look up is because the Lord says to look up, and that was something to look up to when someone's like, I'm going to date you. And so but honestly, it was the constant consistency of, I'm here for you. The little texts in the morning, and then it just continued to grow in a beautiful way. So yes, love at first sight, yes, obviously, but my mindset wasn't there. His was. Yeah. So you think of it, you're in an interview, you have to totally do a 180 of a mindset. But I honestly, where the depths of the love started was when we were playing basketball together at the gym, just shooting around together.
By the time we saw that video where he introduced you as his fiance, and the two of you were staring at each other.
Oh, I was obsessed. I'm still obsessed
Could
with
not
him.
break your gaze. I mean, that's, I think, as the kids would say, #goals for virtually everybody who wants love in their life. So you did get married.
Yes.
You have 2 kids.
2 precious babies.
And you told me this in private, but how many kids did you guys want to have?
We wanted to have 4. Yeah. And I was praying to God that I was pregnant when he got murdered.
Oh, wow. I thought of that once. Just like whether it was meant to be or whether we'd get news like that.
I was like, oh, goodness, that would be the ultimate blessing out of this catastrophe. So now when I see young couples, I tell them, please, don't put it off. Especially if you're a young woman, don't put it off. You can always have a career. You can always, go back to work. You can never just go back to having children. And they grow so fast and so quickly, but I was praying, both of us were. We were really excited to just expand our family.
Thank God you have the 2.
I know.
Thank God.
Boy and girl, I know.
One day they'll find out. Right now they're just, little loves, and one day they'll find out that they're Charlie Kirk's children, and they'll know what that means. So I wanted to ask you, Erika, because you are so faithful, whether you had any premonition that something was going to happen to Charlie? 'Cause I really do see you as connected, more so than the rest of us, to God. And I just wondered, did you have any sort of a feeling?
We see, the thing is that I guess we just operate differently. We always knew there were threats. We always knew that there were people out there that hated us with deep, deep passion of hate. But it didn't scare us. Never, he was never afraid of that. Neither was I. Obviously, we protect our children. You know, we don't show their faces on the internet, so that's very intentional. But I think we lived our life in such a way where if that was our last day, it was our last day. Like, we always lived as if it was the last day. That's why Charlie's speeches were so good, because he didn't know if that was going to be his last speech. And he was so intentional about every word. Every word had a meaning, and every speech had a connection point for the students and for whoever he was speaking to. And that's why he never missed the opportunity to weave the gospel into what he was saying.
Yes, that's what made him so much more powerful than the rest of us.
Yeah.
If you see the difference between Charlie Kirk and many of the right-wing pundits or commentators, it's that he supercharged the message that the rest of us were saying with biblical references, with faith-based wisdom, which made it 10 times more powerful. And people knew it. It's one of the things we're all missing right now.
But to answer your question, we always knew there were threats. We always knew that could be a possibility. But obviously, but we never lived in fear of when that day would be. We just trusted the Lord every day.
Now, of course, in the wake of Charlie's death, many are living under threat. I mean, the nutcases have gotten very loud and emboldened. And I just wonder whether it was the kind of threat like environment that you needed to actually worry that something could happen, or was it just the din of there are haters out there, you get these nutcase letters sometimes, was it something like, no, it's actually getting really serious and we need to worry, or was it just the din of
No, I mean, you would see, obviously leading up to that, there was several shootings, there was several individuals with guns on campus, so you knew that the threat was there and things were starting to heat up, but again, it wasn't anything that, you would think any different.
Nothing acute.
No.
I know that the morning he died, he went back into your room. He had slept in your daughter's room because he got up in the middle of the night and she got up in the middle of the night. There was a switcheroo.
Snacks.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
But he came back into your room and he got his necklace and he got his wedding ring, right? And his necklace had a cross on it and it had St. Michael's medal.
Yeah, I wear it every day. It's right here.
Wow. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And Erika, help me understand. I genuinely don't understand. I've asked Frank Turek this. I've asked everyone I can ask this question. I don't understand how you can be wearing your cross and your St. Michael's medal and be shot to death. I feel, as Charlie felt, that's armor. We wear that to protect us, and we believe God will protect us. How have you squared that?
The Lord is so powerful, and we're not meant to understand all of his ways. But there's mercy in that, knowing that God uses evil for good. I don't know what exactly that is, but I do know that the Lord will use it, and if that means revival, the Lord... I told people, I said, I have never found more comfort in the statement, "Thy will be done."
Explain that. Why?
Because it shows that control is an absolute illusion. The Lord knows the number of hairs on our head, and he knows the number of our days. And that's why Charlie was so intentional of making sure everyone knew that their role in life was so important. and that you guys are all the missing puzzle piece to this whole story. And we used to explain it when we would have dinner sometimes about how when you look at a tapestry, on one side you see all of these hanging threads, and it doesn't make any sense. They're all different colored threads all over the place. But when you turn that tapestry around, you see how beautifully woven together and how intentional every thread is to that tapestry. And yes, I fully believe that you put on the full armor of God every single day. I mean, henceforth, all of my bracelets and rings, like everything has meaning to me. And that's why I always wear my bracelets, always wear my rings, always wear my necklaces. And it's one of those things where we will never understand God's ways fully. We're not meant to. We wouldn't be, our mortal brains would not be able to even compute what he has designed and put together. But what I do know is that the Lord spoke through Charlie in so many ways. And I still feel so deeply connected to him.
Yeah.
And I know that the Lord used such evil to bring about something that will eventually come to good.
It's already started. I've seen it. I am a big believer in signs. You know, I think when you lose somebody, if you ask for signs, do you guys believe in signs? Have you gotten any from him?
You know, it's so interesting. When we first started dating, this is personal, but I share it only because maybe it'll be a sign for you to know that Charlie's with you in something. When we first started dating, we were walking to dinner one night, and this happened a lot. The lights would start to flicker. And he'd look up at the light and be like, you know, it's so weird, this happens to me a lot. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. So our whole dating and whole marriage, anytime we'd be in a room and a light started to flicker, he would just look at me and wink. It was like our little thing.
His power.
Yeah. It's a total frequency thing. And so the night everything happened when we were in Utah, I was in a hotel room by myself, in the bedroom portion by myself. And the bathroom light was on, and it just was a strobe light all night, and I was like, part of me couldn't sleep because it was a strobe light. The other part of me couldn't sleep because of how just my world has just crumbled, and the other part of me couldn't sleep because I was like, baby, I feel you. I know you're here. Mm-hmm. So that was, you know, some signs. But another sign, too, is just my daughter, you know, just saying little things, and like, I'm okay. I see you.
Is she starting to get it?
Yes and no. We talk about heaven. I make it really exciting. I tell her, Daddy had so much fun today. Everyone who has written letters and sent gifts to my children, thank you. I tell her, my son, he's only 1.5 years, but I tell both of them, Daddy is telling all of his friends to send you gifts and letters, and you know, Daddy is orchestrating from heaven to make sure that you always feel so loved. And the other day she was like, tell me about Daddy's day in heaven. So we talk about that at night. And then sometimes I'll say, well, tell me what you think he did in heaven today. And I just try to make it exciting, because heaven's our home. Mm-hmm. And so I just want her to know that Daddy is having so much fun and building a place for her and our family in heaven.
How do you, yeah. I know that you haven't watched the video, and you shouldn't watch the video, and you don't
never watch that video.
And you don't want the kids to watch the video. Yeah. But how are you going to handle it when they get older, Erika, and they start to learn about the haters? right? Because there does have to come a time where that needs to be put in the proper perspective. Charlie was so tough. It was hard to get him rattled about these attacks. But, and I can speak to this, having my own children, 2 of whom are backstage. You know, there comes a time where you have to sort of help your kids understand the terrible negative messages that are out there about someone they deeply love. Have you thought about that at all? Like how you're going to walk them into that?
You know, I first and foremost want my children to have a childhood. So that's another reason why I don't put them on the internet. It's another reason why I don't expose them to certain screen time. I've said it before, some of the shows, the only shows they would watch is Charlie, Bob Ross, because he has a very nap-inducing voice. And then, you know, every now and then it would be some of Charlie's events. But I want them to be children first, and I want to teach them so much about God and Jesus so that when they do get older and they do see the hate, they also understand how much good is still out there. And they also understand that they could be the antidote to the evil. And they can pray for those people and not be afraid. I'd never want them to be afraid. But I want them to also see that that evil is because they or their parents or their loved ones is actually doing something to make a difference. Because if you're not getting attacked or slandered or whatever else out there, you're just looking a lot like the rest of the world. And I want them to know that that's okay. You know, I have been called so many names. I have been slandered, and none of that means anything to me. It's all just noise.
It's really been crazy.
No, it's
Like,
unbelievable. Yeah.
Watching people turn on you has been one of the most unexpected, strange, terrible
But
things
you know
since
what,
he died.
Megan, and I know you get this because you have a thick skin and a soft heart. The thing is that the more that people, and it gets outlandish, more and more crazy as time goes on, because there's just a void that apparently needs to be filled. But I'm okay with the world not understanding me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you know, I don't want to look like the world. We're as Christians, we're called to be in the world, not of it. And if they could understand me, then I'm not doing something right.
That's well said. Forgive me, did you see people didn't understand the hug that you and JD had? They went to the weirdest places, Erika.
Oh my gosh. You guys, please. So for those of you who know me, I hug. It's
Yes,
like,
you're an intense hugger. It's
whoever
awesome.
is like hating on a hug needs a hug themselves. I will give you a free hug anytime you want a hug. My love language is touch, if you will. But seriously, that hug. So I will give you a play-by-play. Walking, they just played the emotional video. I'm walking over, he's walking over, I'm starting to cry. He says, he's so proud of you. And I say, God bless you. And I touch the back of his head. Anyone who I've hugged that I have touched the back of your head when I hug you, I always say, God bless you. That's just me. If you want to take that out of context, go right ahead. Again, that to me shows that you need a hug more than anyone else. So if anyone...
They were acting like you touched the back of his ass.
I feel like I wouldn't get as much hate if I did that versus... But no, seriously, so now when I go and hug people, I'll bring them back in and be like, I obviously didn't give you the right hug. Like, come, let me touch the back of your head.
Where do the hands go?
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Can't touch the head. What can I touch?
I know. I'll just...
Not me.
yeah,
I'm always
just
like,
stand.
if you touch the back of my head, I'm like, oh, she's feeling the extensions. Oh. Damn.
That's another thing. People think my hair is fake. It is very real.
My hairstylist told me your hair is real. She was like, oh no, that's all real.
This is real. I've
How?
had some
How is it
women.
real?
They like come and touch the back of my head. I'm like, what are you doing?
They're feeling
It's
for
not
the
coming
weave.
out. Yeah.
They're patting the weave.
I know.
What?
Anyways,
How is
so-
that real? Have you just been growing it out your whole life? We want to know.
My mother Okay, so I loved sports growing up. I started playing basketball when I was 5. My first coach, he was Charles Barkley, of all people, which is amazing to have as your 5-year-old YMCA coach.
Good to see you with your little Charles Barkley doll.
No, it was great. He's an awesome man. His daughter was a dear friend. And so I loved sports. And my mom, I was swimming all the time. I was always super active. And since my mom worked, I was always at the Boys and Girls Club. Always. And I was the last kid to get picked up from the Boys and Girls Club every single day. And the poor counselor, or whatever you want to call him, that had to stand with me waiting for my mom to pick me up every day. I loved sports. I loved basketball so much. It was such a good escape for me as a child. And I remember my hair from swimming was so ratted because I have very coarse hair, and my mom hated combing my hair. And so her solution was a bowl cut.
Oh boy.
Straight across. Traumatizing. To this point, my hairdresser knows when we get a trim, it is literally like a fraction of my hair. I will never have hair shorter than my shoulders. Charlie loved my hair, though. He loved how long it was.
So what you're saying is you have long, thick, coarse hair that takes you a while to grow out and take care of, and you're not black or named Michelle Obama, which is fascinating. That can happen
with
to
all the conspiracy theories
others.
out there. I'm not going to touch that one either. Like
Yeah,
there's
no.
just. But
hopefully you haven't been paying too much attention to the news cycle, but they know what I'm talking about.
No, but my hair, to get back to that, is something that I'm not gonna cut it. I'm not gonna,
Charlie liked it long.
He liked it. He liked it long, and here we are.
Yeah.
But my mom, if you ask my mom, she'll tell you, it's if she grew up from the standpoint of a Lebanese Italian background, and you're supposed to shave your kid's head when they're 2, and then it's supposed to grow back really thick after that. I was a product of the shaved head, so if you would like to try that on your 2-year-old, unsolicited advice.
Does it work on the 55-year-old?
I have no idea. You guys tell me.
I don't know. Am I gonna try? You raised the issue of the
If
girls.
you see us shaved head by December, you know why.
Oh yeah.
We all look like Britney Spears.
The
with a
headline,
shaved
well,
head.
they went full skinhead.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And are listening to Nick
That's
Fuentes.
the last thing
That'll
we
be.
need.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This is
It's
the
a no.
last thing. Yeah.
While we're on the subject, because you really were a very strong female athlete, can I ask you your position on that? Because
Oh yeah. Totally.
because this is obviously a dominant thing. We had Megan Rapinoe in the news just this week saying they don't really mean it. They don't actually have an objection to men playing in women's sports. They're just using it like as an issue. She made all her money. She's sitting pretty, but she wants your daughter to play against boys. Your thoughts on it?
So, well, you can take this as a twofold. So if you're looking at it from the sports angle, where you're playing up against men, I mean, I know this has been said before, but then what's the point of female sports? But to me, I played in college. I worked so hard for that scholarship. I knew my strengths as a point guard. I hated driving the lane, always. I always shot the 3. That was like my thing. I'm not driving to have someone who's like 6'7" just not happening.
Oh, she said it.
So, for me, sports has a very special place in my heart, but as a mom now and watching my daughter compete, it's just, I know they say, life isn't fair. I get that. Life's not fair. But there's certain things that are really special. And women's sports is one of them. And it's really, some people look down on it, some people think it's not it. But those girls have worked so hard for their position. And to have it taken away from them by someone who couldn't rank in their own sport and field, it's demoralizing. And it also weighs on the whole topic of being a woman, being proud to be a woman, being proud to be a strong female athlete. And I wouldn't want that taken away from anybody.
That's right, having the glorious chance of accomplishment. I mean, we'll never win if we're playing against biological boys. We'll never have that glorious feeling of crossing the finish line first or being the one who has the game-winning shot, because it's always going to go to a man. It's just one of the basic things. We always talk about the unfairness of it and the safety of it, but just think about that, like the glorious feeling of winning, which I never had because I wasn't an athlete. But you had it.
I don't know. I feel like politics somewhat is form of an athletic feat. So it's...
You know, I had it like when Don Lemon got fired. It depends.
That was your moment.
Yeah. You know, we all look for our moments. Yeah, right. We feel good. If you're ever worried about the safety of your home, you need to hear about Simply Safe's early access Black Friday sale. We're already having Black Friday sales. This is great. Traditional security systems respond after somebody has broken into your house. It's a little late. Simply Safe is different. It can stop crimes before they happen. It's like Minority Report, only in real life, with Active Guard outdoor protection. AI-powered cameras detect threats while they're still outside of your home, and then they alert real security agents. The agents take action while the intruder is still outside. They confront the intruder. They let them know they're on cam. Can you imagine this? Don't you want to see this happen? They alert cops, and it even triggers a loud siren and spotlight if needed. Busted! Simply Safe's agents have your back even if you are not there. There are no long-term contracts. Those are annoying. No hidden fees, even more annoying. And you can cancel at any time. Simply Safe has been named Best Home Security System by U.S. News and World Report 5 years in a row now, and they offer a 60-day money-back guarantee. Don't miss out. Simply Safe's biggest sale of the year, 60% off a Simply Safe home security system at simplysafe.com/Megyn. 60% off, 60 at simplysafe.com/Megyn. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Let's be honest. America can still be a dangerous place, and you cannot afford to wait for help. Sure, you could use a firearm, but in today's America, defending yourself with deadly force can have legal consequences. According to FBI data, 99.9% of all altercations do not require lethal force. And that's exactly why so many are turning to Byrna. Byrna is proudly American, hand-assembled in Fort Wayne, Indiana. These less lethal self-defense launchers are trusted by hundreds of government agencies, law enforcement departments, and private security companies as well. Over 600,000 Byrna pistols have been sold, most to private citizens who just refuse to be victims. Byrna launchers fire rock-hard kinetic rounds that will stop somebody in their tracks, and powerful tear gas and pepper projectiles that's more like, it's like a pepper spray on steroids that's capable of stopping a threat from up to 60 feet away. No background checks required, no waiting periods. And Byrna can ship straight to your door. You can get it in either orange or black. Take responsibility. Protect your future. Visit Byrna.com right now, or your local Sportsman's Warehouse. That's BYRNA.com, or your local Sportsman's Warehouse. Visit now and be prepared to defend. I want to ask you about the book that you're holding in your hands.
Yes, Charlie's book. I took the dust cover off because I carry his book everywhere. Stop in the Name of God. It's coming out soon.
Charlie's coming out with a book.
Yeah.
He's coming out with a book, Stop in the Name of God, which is a great title. Stop in the Name of God. And what is it about?
Took him 1.5 years to write it. And this book, I mean, when I'm reading it, I'm like, I did not even know you knew that. It is so powerful. Overarching theme of it is the power of honoring the Sabbath and the importance of rest. And reading this, and I even brought one of his journals with me to read out of it, because the thing that's so interesting about reading this book and reading this journal, and I know a lot of you that are Christians will understand this, they tell you that when you read the Bible, it's the living Word of God, and it is. And you see the Lord in Technicolor when you read the Bible and you actually understand those words. And so for me, reading Charlie's journals and reading this book, it's like he's present with the Lord, but it feels like he's still fully here. And that's what's so powerful about this book. And I watched him as a wife completely transform into And already, I mean, he was already amazing and incredible, but it totally elevated him when he was honoring the Sabbath and when he really took that seriously, that time to rest seriously. And I just can't help but think, like, everything, and to go to your point of signs, I don't think anything is by coincidence, but to have this be his last book and to him totally master what it means to rest with the Lord, it's all full circle now, because it's the ultimate Sabbath where he is right now in heaven.
When did you get to read it?
When?
Yeah.
As much as I can, driving into the office or...
No, but I mean, was it written in its entirety before Charlie died?
Yes.
It was. Okay.
Yes, it was. He finished writing this, I believe, in June or July of this year.
So you had read it.
Mm-hmm.
And
But to read it in a book format and not an email format that he would send me is
something.
Night and day difference, yeah.
What are the pages that are folded over?
The one that all of them are amazing, but the one that I wanted to read was the part about sleeping, because Charlie, his adrenaline was always going, and it was very hard for him to turn his brain off at night, henceforth snacks at like 2 a.m. And
Didn't you tell me olives and bananas?
Not together, but you know.
But he was like even snacking in a healthy manner. It's
almonds,
amazing.
yeah.
Also, we do have to discuss the fact that you said he only had mint chocolate chip ice cream once a year.
Twice.
Or
His
twice.
birthday and
4th of July and his birthday, right? And no ice cream any other day?
His self-control and self-discipline was phenomenal. And to the point, too, where when I was pregnant, 70% of the reason why no one saw me when I was pregnant was because of this situation. The other 30% was because I just was with my babies. But 70% of it was, I'm really hungry. I think should I have a milkshake? Baby, get that milkshake. But I don't know if I should have that milkshake. You need the milkshake. I'm gonna go and get you that milkshake. Do you want a hot fudge sundae too? I'm gonna get that In-N-Out burger. No questions. I'll be right back. Animal style. So he'd come home. He loved it because he loved driving around at night. So he'd come home with the In-N-Out burger, animal style, protein salt, whatever, mixed in with the hot fudge sundae, the chocolate shake, and he would be so excited to give it to me and watch me eat it. But that was because he was living vicariously through me. So no joke, I got to like 190 pounds. I was like, I am literally going to weigh more than you by the end of this pregnancy. And he'd be like, baby, you look great. Don't worry about that. That's just baby weight. Granted, it does go away. It takes a lot of work.
He's sitting there eating his olives?
No, he's just watching me. And I'm like, I will enjoy this hot fudge sundae while you wish that you could have. But he was so self-disciplined and he was so good about eating. Biohacking was his love language of being healthy, eating clean. He could not operate on fast food the way that he was in general. Like, that's why he never drank. That's why it wasn't from, a motive of I'm better than whoever. It was from the motive of I need to operate as if I'm going to war every single day, and I can't operate on this type of food.
It's amazing. So. And speaking of the sleep, that's very...
No, right. So the sleep was important because I was like, he loved his sleep, and something that I was very intentional about is when he came home, I would always let him sleep in, always, on the weekends. I would take the kids, go for a walk, whatever it took, and I would want him to wake up when it was time to wake up because I knew how important rest was for him. And so when I read this in the book, it was on my heart to share it with you because the title of it says, Jesus slept, Elijah slept, and so can you. And he said, so start tonight, close the laptop, power down the phone, let the dishes wait, pull the shades, dim the lights, and give your body permission to do what it was created to do, to rest. Let your bed become an altar of trust as your head touches the pillow, and whisper to God, I release it all to you. You don't need to check one more email. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to carry the weight of the world. It already has a savior, and it's not you. Sleep is not a distraction from your purpose. It is part of your purpose. It is a sacred rhythm that restores your mind, heals your body, and quiets your soul. The Sabbath is your weekly reminder that you are not a machine. You are a beloved child, and children sleep well when they know their Father is near. So go ahead, embrace the gift. Make your Sabbath a day not just of rest, but of sleep, deep, joyful, and replenishing sleep. You're allowed. And more than that, you're invited. Rest isn't weakness, it's worship. And tomorrow will be better because you trusted God enough to rest today.
Wow. And he was keeping the Sabbath.
He was. So with that, since today is his Sabbath, I wanted to read to you from his journal.
Oh, wow. Is that it right there?
Yeah.
Wow.
In his handwriting. A note that he wrote to himself to honor the Sabbath. He said, "Dear Lord, thank you for a wonderful week. Thank you for your endless protection and provision. Father God, thank you for your mercy and grace. Lord, I did better this week, despite the challenges of travel. I miss my wife. It's hard to be away from her for a few days. Thank you for giving us a roadmap of what it means to be obedient and put Christ first. Lord, I have realized the following. The battle against the mind is Satan's playground. He dwells and prowls to destroy. The more in alignment we walk in your command and teachings, the more joy and blessing we experience. Lord, thank you for showing us the way, the truth, and the life. Thank you for blessing our organization. I pray for resolution amongst the divides that Satan is attempting. Lord, we pray for blessing for the people who feel they have been wronged. Father God, we ask for your guidance, wisdom, and direction, your comfort and your healing. We love you, Lord. Thank you for another Sabbath, CK."
Wow. Erika, I know you touched on it earlier, but one of the reactions I have to hearing that is like, I get angry. How can that man have been taken? How he was all goodness. The left who are bastardizing his memory have no idea what they're talking about. Charlie was all goodness. I know we can't understand God's plan, but have you had bouts of anger? You know, I think about what the kids are going to miss, what you got gypped out of, what poor Charlie now is going to miss, and I feel angry. Sadness, of course, obviously, but yes, against the accused shooter, but just, I know you don't ever feel angry against God, but I kind of do. I mean,
I understand.
How do you make sense of that? And do you have any anger when you think about it? Not towards the Lord, but in general.
The enemy would love for me to be angry. He would love it. He would love it. Because it would distract me from building what Charlie entrusted to me, raising our babies, turning point, being there for the team, being there for what the future holds. And if I had any amount of anger in my heart and spirit, the Lord would not be able to use me. And every single day, just how Charlie did, stood on stage, he would say, "Here I am, Lord, use me." And if I had that anger in my heart, that foothold from the enemy, he wouldn't be able to.
I know at Charlie's memorial, right across the way here, there was that extraordinary moment where you forgave his accused killer. And I looked and I said, that's the most powerful, strongest thing I've ever seen anybody do in my life. And then somebody helped me understand, because I thought I could never do it. I could never do it. And somebody said to me, forgiveness is an action, not an emotion. And I was like, okay, that's getting me closer to feeling like I could do it. If I don't actually have to feel loving in my heart toward the person. But I wonder, like, how do you, like, if you could say something to him, if you say something to his parents, like, what would it be? Would it be anger? Would it be sympathy? What would it be?
That's a good question. It wouldn't be sympathy. It wouldn't be anger. how do you put this? Anything that I could ever wish upon him or that family would pale in comparison of the justice of God. And so I would look at them almost like, I'm so glad I'm not you. I am so glad I'm not you. And I pray that, you figure out a way to be right with the Lord, but our God is sovereign, but he's also very just. We serve a very just-filled God.
That's right.
So I really have nothing to say to any of them.
Yeah, nor do you need to.
I never.
You mentioned in your remarks at Charlie's funeral that, you pointed out the irony that the accused shooter is exactly the kind of person who Charlie meant to help.
Yes.
And that's kind of what he dedicated his life to doing.
He did.
Is trying to reach disaffected young men who had been forgotten by a system, or worse than forgotten, remembered and told that they're terrible and to blame for everything.
Right.
And those messages for years now have really materially, seriously affected the health and mental well-being of a generation of young men who need Turning Point.
Yeah.
And so that's a huge responsibility for you. Like, it's not just, oh, we have a great political organization and it's a really big thing and people love it. You actually have to go about the business of saving an entire generation, in particular of young men, but young women too.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to do that? I mean, I think everybody wants to know, without Charlie, how are you going to do that?
A few things. First, Charlie would say, I want to save the lost boys of the West. That was on he had a to-do list, and that was on the top point of the to-do list. That he has that piece of paper still on his desk at his office. But what's so powerful about all of this is that Charlie was so focused on the family. He didn't believe that it was up to the government to raise your kids. He wanted to not only empower the students, but also the parents. And something that you've done so beautifully, Megyn, is that your children, you've raised them with the truth and understanding the importance of loving this country. You might not agree with everything that the government does. That's life. It's the government. But you still love this country. And so your babies even started Turning Point chapters. But it's also because you as a parent saw how important that was. And I think that's what's so special about Turning Point USA, is that when we have these events, especially America Fest, it is so family oriented. We're not out there trying to raise your kid. We're trying to reaffirm what you've been telling them this whole time. We're trying to reaffirm to them that there is a space for you. We are here for the civil discourse. We are here for the debates. We are here for the dialogue. We are here for the freedom of speech. That's our role. Save Western civilization. But what Charlie loved, and him being a parent also, was that he wanted to inspire the parents to show their kids what true north is, and then say, you have a home at Turning Point that will help fuel that even more. And so that's how I view us being able to help.
Charlie spoke very frankly to young men. He did it on my show many times. And one of my favorite clips of him is the dating advice one. Right? Do you know the clip I mean? Where he said, you got to pay on the first date to the guys. When you are courting a woman, he said, when you are courting, yes. He was very sweet to those guys. He says, you seem like nice guys, but it's absolutely ridiculous that you're talking about not paying.
Right.
So let me ask you the other side of it. What's your advice to young women who get asked out by young men?
Well, stay away from hookup culture. Don't just date to date. If a guy wants to take you to drinks instead of dinner, that's a huge red flag. If they don't want to go to church with you and have brunch afterwards, another huge red flag. Don't introduce them to your family until you know without a shadow of a doubt that might be the man that you're going to marry. And don't treat your boyfriend like your husband. Don't treat your boyfriend like your fiance. Treat them like your boyfriend. Treat your fiance like your fiance and your husband like your husband. And I think that when you stay focused on the Lord and the lane that He has you in, which is a stream of significance, keep swimming in that. The man that's supposed to be with you will not detract you from the Lord. He'll enhance your focus on the Lord. And He will help be there to build with you, to love on you, to be there for your family. He won't tear you away from your family. He won't challenge your beliefs in a way that makes you question the Lord and what you know in your heart to be true. He'll love you so well, just like my Charlie did. And He'll be a compliment to you in such a beautiful way. And you'll be equally yoked, where you're not having to compete and you're not having to strive. The two of you are in lockstep and you're building something beautiful for the kingdom. And it's powerful.
If I could, just a quick addendum. Don't be a slut.
Right.
Just
that too.
Note to
Right.
self.
Note to self. Right.
All right, now, in the time we have left, I've got to ask you this. Turning Point played a massive role in the past election, in the presidential election.
So
massive
amazing.
role.
I know.
And so we have to talk about what Turning Point may or may not do in 26, and most importantly in 28, and why is it get behind J.D. Vance?
Let's start with midterms first before we start jumping to 28. And let's enjoy the fact that we do have Donald Trump in office and we worked really
Yes,
hard.
let's enjoy that fact.
We worked really hard to make that happen. My husband did. So I just want to enjoy that for a minute before we start jumping ahead. But my husband, like I said, built a machine. And some of the secret sauce within that was that he loved the students, but also he loved empowering them to know that they could make a difference and how important voting was. And when you see these pictures of him when he first started Turning Point USA, he was so bought into his own mission. He wasn't, in an office cubicle while the students were out an event. He was there wearing his lanyard with his little name tag and a Big Gov Sucks button and Socialism Sucks button. And he believed in the mission so much. And for a lack of a better term, he knew that the unsexy work was what it took to save elections, which is tennis shoes and clipboards, and speaking to your neighbors, knocking on doors, being involved with your community, not being afraid to explain to people why you believe what you believe. And nothing is changing at Turning Point USA or Turning Point Action. If anything, it's just continuing to grow. I mean, you've seen the numbers of how many chapters and churches, and it's been phenomenal. And yes, there is a structure of quality over quantity, but the 26 midterms obviously will be focusing heavily on Arizona. It's our home state. But the thing I love the most, especially about, and if you guys have ever been to our campus, if you have not, I really suggest you come by. We have a building that's specifically for the Turning Point Action building. And it is one of my favorite buildings to go into because I feel the heartbeat of Charlie in there from a strategy standpoint, because it's like a war room in there. They have the polling and they have the strategy laid out and they have the door knockers. It's really, really powerful to witness. And I can just see Charlie being like, knock on that one more door, talk to that neighbor one more time. And so we are thrilled to be able to still make massive impacts and inroads with the upcoming elections. And the team that Charlie built, I tell you what, I would bet on them any day, always.
I mentioned JD, you mentioned Trump. Can you just give us a minute on them? Because from afar, it has looked like they've been so there for you.
Yes.
And I don't think most people were surprised to see JD do it, but everyone says Trump has no empathy. He's a nasty guy. He's a mean guy. He's a Nazi. Pick your term. I saw him with you at the Presidential Medal of Freedom when he awarded it to Charlie posthumously. Can you just tell us a little bit about how they've been behind the scenes in this whole thing?
Charlie and President Trump had a really special relationship. It was one that some people would understand, others wouldn't. Sometimes it was fatherly son, but at other times it was this mutual deep respect of being able to build in a way where Trump understood building in Manhattan and building, across the country and across the world architecturally. And Charlie understood building with Turning Point USA and his ability to see things that other people couldn't really see, especially in other people. But what Charlie really appreciated about President Trump is that no matter what anyone says about him, he is so mission focused. He's so laser focused, and Charlie was the same way. And he admired so much the president's tenacity to keep going, especially after January 6th, when no one wanted anything to do with him. And Charlie said, "I got your back," and he meant it. And moments like that really put into perspective the human aspect of politics. You can go down the rabbit hole of slandering someone, but at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the most important thing is that you realize that we're all just doing our best here with our one life that we have. And the president was so good to Charlie from the standpoint of, he didn't look down to Charlie. He appreciated his ability to be able to mobilize the youth, but also to share the message of how amazing the country we live in. Yes, we have faults. Anything with humans have faults. We're all sinful. But he appreciated that Charlie was always there for him, and he was always there for Charlie. And the president has always had a very soft spot in my heart, because I got to witness that he wasn't just the president to my husband. He was a friend. And I'll never forget that.
Yeah. And JD and Usha have been incredibly supportive. It's been really nice to see. And I look forward to you guys throwing the full weight of Turning Point behind them in about 3 years. Am I being subtle?
No,
I'm not.
Don't worry, it's already, it's in the works. But that was a thing that my husband was very direct about. It was, interestingly enough, one of the last few conversations we had was how intentional he was about supporting JD for 28.
Yeah, he was totally behind JD. And he was largely
100%.
responsible for Trump picking JD.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Okay, here's another one. Charlie said on the record, Erika is way more conservative than I am. Way more. How so?
Well, first and foremost, we were always very in alignment with, obviously, a lot of things. But there were certain things where we made sure that I was a little in the beginning, and Andrew Colvett can attest to this. It was an immigration side of things that I had a different viewpoint on. And then he was like, I see that point. It was a long time ago with student visa related topics. But other than that, we were in alignment with a lot of things. I was just a little bit more direct behind the scenes about it, but we were always in lockstep with one another.
So people hoping for a turning point to go conservative light now that...
That's not happening.
Okay.
No, we are not. Turning Point USA is not becoming feminized, let me tell you that. That is not going to happen.
Awesome.
Never. No, we have a great team. We have, a phenomenal group of people that are... That's what's so amazing too about Turning Point, is that after all this happened, we didn't have a mass firing. We didn't have mass exodus. We didn't have any issues internally. We grieved. but we were able to pull off an unbelievable memorial service.
It was incredible.
But that just is a testament to the team. I mean, that's not normal. That is the Holy Spirit moving within the organization. And now more than ever, I see the strength of the organization because people aren't just there to write emails. And that's why the age of the individuals that work at the office, everyone's so young. Charlie didn't care if you went to college. He actually preferred that you didn't. He would hire you right out of high school.
Yeah.
But the organization itself is so healthy, and the culture is so healthy, and our chapters and the students and the field program and the Charlie Kirk show and the events team and everyone that is a part of the organization goes back to that tapestry of, there's a bunch of threads, but woven together, the organization is phenomenal. So no, we are not weakening at all. We are not becoming feminized at all. If anything, we're being more emboldened, and we will carry on my husband's legacy in a way that no one could even have imagined, and we'll make it everything he could have ever dreamed of and more.
Amen. Amen. God bless you. God bless your children. God bless Turning Point USA. And you let all of us know if you need anything.
Prayers would mean everything.
You got it.
Wisdom and discernment and protection. And just pray for our country. Pray for our leaders. Pray for people that you don't agree with. You don't have to like them, but just pray for them. Pray that the Lord softens their heart. Pray that the Lord has His will be done and justice always prevails. And just pray that...
we're on it.
Yeah.
We love you.
I love you.
Don't we love
God bless
Erika?
you.
Thank you. Don't forget to buy the book, Stop in the Name of God. You can get it now. Thank you.